Okay, today we're going to be taking a look at percentages and turning them into decimals and vice versa. So starting with a decimal and turning it into a percentage. So very first part we have here is to write the given percentage as a decimal. So we have been given 24% and we're asked to turn it into a decimal. So here's the shortcut that you need to remember. To take any percentage and turn it into a decimal, all you have to do is divide it by 100. So that means you take the percentage, and in this case, we are given 24%. So I'm going to take the calculator, and we're going to do 24 and simply divide it by 100. And that equals 0 and 24 hundredths. So what goes inside that box is 0 and 24 hundredths. So another way to remember this is that percentages are always out of 100. So if you take the 24% and write it over 100, I know that's a fraction, but how do you read that fraction? You read this fraction 24 hundredths. Well, how do you write 24 hundredths in decimal form? It's right there, 24 hundredths. On into the next one. How do you write 107% as a decimal? Keep in mind the shortcut to go from a percentage to a decimal is simply to take the percentage, divide it by 100. So all you're doing is grabbing the calculator and you're punching in 107 because that's the given percentage, and we're going to divide that by 100, which is 1.07. So the answer for what is 107% as a decimal is 1 and 7 hundredths. And of course, the answers or the visuals are down below. So going back to the first one, because I accidentally skipped that, is what is 24% drawn out or illustrated, or the model down below? It's simply 24 squares out of 100. So in that one, it looks like there's 10, 23, so it's not that one. This one has 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not that one. There it is, 10, 20, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's that option there. And of course, that one's also too many. And then over to the next one. Keep in mind, if it's 1 and 7 hundredths, that means you have one whole colored in. That's why all of these have one whole colored in. And notice there's 100 squares. Now we just need the one that has 7. Well, that one right there only has 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's not that option. That one over there has 8. It's not that one. This one has 7. So it does happen to be this one. That is 1 and 7 hundredths. Now on into kind of the opposite, starting with the decimal this time. So this time we're starting with the decimal, and we're going to convert it into a percentage. Well, it's just the opposite. So instead of dividing by 100, we are going to multiply by 100. So you're going to take your decimal, and in this case, the decimal is 0.316, and you're going to multiply that by 100, which is 31 and 6/10. So 31 and 6/10 is the percentage that goes in there. That's the same thing. So when you're looking at these two numbers, 0 and 316 thousandths, I want you to know that it equals 31 and 6/10%. The reason why is you're actually just moving the decimal 2 places to the right, because when you multiply by 100, you're moving the decimal 2 places to the right, just 2 jumps to the right. So on the next one, it says write the decimal as a percentage again. So we've got 1.2. Well, the shortcut is to take that number, and of course, we're just going to multiply it by 100. But when you're multiplying by 100, the decimal shoots 2 places to the right. Keep in mind, behind this 2 is a 0. So when we move our decimal 2 places to the right, just jumps 1, 2. And so you're staring at 120%. And just to prove it on the calculator, 1.2 times 100, 120%. There it is. On in the last one, I'm going to go ahead and highlight kind of the key points here that you should be writing down. And the key points are right here. To take a decimal and turn it into a percentage, you multiply by 100. Of course, the exact opposite is true. When you start with a percentage and you move to a decimal, you're dividing by 100. You should be writing that down into your notebook. On in the last problem, you can earn 90 out of a possible 100 points on the test. Write 90 out of 100 as a fraction. Okay, well, 90 out of 100 as a fraction, a decimal, and a percentage. Well, the fraction part is pretty much given to you. They say 90 out of 100. So if the fraction form is simple, 90 out of 100. And of course, you could simplify this by dividing both of those by 10, because 10 is a common factor of both 90 and 100. So the simplified version of 90 out of 100 would be 9/10. That would be the simplified version of the fraction. Well, if you're reading it 9/10, the decimal form is easy. I'm saying it 9/10. 9/10. Right there, that's 9/10. And then the percent form, remember, to go from a decimal to a percentage, again, to go from a decimal into a percentage. I'll jump back to that so you can see. To go from a decimal to a percentage, all we're doing is multiplying by 100. So we're going to take our decimal, which was 0.9, and I'm going to multiply that by 100, which will give us 90%, which is why the percent version of 90 out of 100 is simply 90%.